Boys, big news on Michael Maguire. Has not put pen to paper, but has agreed to be the next Blues coach. I think it's a terrific appointment.
I reckon you're the reason he got it. Because you've been talking him up for the last week.
I have been talking him up. Yeah,
Getting a little percentage there, or what?
Yeah, I ain't getting a sling. I think all the people that were available,
he was the best
because he's still got his eye on with the day-to-day coaching, but it's just the nature of who Madge is. He's the most organised and prepared coach that I have seen. The question will be, can he be too intense? Well, he can be too intense. But when you get elite players in for a short stint and they go, I think it is perfect. Like with Ricky,
yeah.
With Ricky, it's the same. With Gus, those short stints.
My only look, I just think you're right, but I still think bigger picture. The New South Wales Rugby League should never have got him into a situation where they're so limited with their options, and then they give him a 1-year deal. You know what I mean? I just think the whole thing needs a reboot, it was when Freddie took over in 2018 after 3 series losses. It needs a reboot. And I get the whole thing with Madge's intensity, but for mine, and I wrote about it in the Herald today, it's not so much they'll be up. They're Origin players. They've got to they needs to make some really ballsy decisions with his team.
Definitely.
Just like Freddie did in 2018.
Yeah.
It's time for that.
It's from outside looking in, the 1-year deal, the coach staff selected, it does seem like we just need to win next year. And everything past that, it just outside looking in, it doesn't seem like there is a long-term plan. It's rather look, let's just get this win and then we can reassess.
But I think that's where they're in that corner. They've got no choice.
Yeah, and I think Cartwright is a bit unlucky. He's assistant coach of the Broncos, doing all right, and obviously he's got NRL player, all the accolades that you would need. With Michael Maguire, I think one real strong positive that in his favour, if there's one bloke that copped the media heat and has been copping the heat for the last years.
And that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a really big one. The ability to handle pressure. Because you see the toll it eventually took on Freddie during tough times.
100%. And Madge, to be honest, in the last couple of years at the Tigers, and I had empathy for him at what happened at the West Tigers because he had a lot of noise from the people above him, and it was hard to coach. I remember talking to him about it. It was hard to coach with a running commentary from his chair and chief executive about players and contracts. It's hard to do, but Origin's on steroids in terms of scrutiny and pressure.
Isn't it funny with Madge? You look and the job he did at South Sydney won't be the legacy left there. Won't be forgotten. 43 years, 43 years. Apologies, and grabs the competition, but also the West Tigers. Right when he left the West Tigers, people went, "Geez, that went bad." If you thought that was bad, in his absence. Since he's left, it actually shows the job he was actually doing there.
Imagine what Michael Maguire could do with the roster they have now.
Yeah.
They'd be playing finals footy. Honestly, they'd be playing finals footy. And look, I've actually been, when Michael Maguire was coach, I actually felt that he was struggling to adapt to the next generation of player. So I was critical of a lot of the decisions he's made. But I think history is going to be kind to Michael Maguire at the Tigers because you look at the roster he had, the fact they were finishing 9th compared to the roster they got now, it's crazy.
And at the time too, Beak, if you have a look at, he didn't say this publicly, but he was behind the scenes, he walked into the Tigers and went cap-wise, oh my God, this is a complete and utter mess. He had players who, not fringe players, but they were good first graders on 850, some on 9.
It still is.
It was a complete and utter debacle.
Yeah.
And he had to wade through all that. He had to make some tough decisions. Put noses out of joints, allowing guys to walk away. But
I think for New South Wales, and look, this might sound super obvious to everyone, but first point of call is Nathan Cleary, the captain. It's your team.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
No matter what, regardless of how well Teddy plays, if he gets that spot back, which he may, Cleary, captaincy, your team. Let's go forward.
But see, I reckon this is, and this is no disrespect to Teddy at all, because I understand he's the Australian captain, but that's the big ballsy decision that needs to be made.
Of course it is.
I reckon Teddy's at that stage of his career now. I reckon this is a perfect swan song for him rep-wise, these games for Australia. Go out on a high if he can, and then concentrate on the last few years of his career at the Roosters and let another wave of New South Wales players through.
I totally agree, Webby.
And Cleary becomes captain?
Yeah.
Cleary
Absolutely.
captain. Yep. It's his time.
What do we think of New Zealand, him juggling New Zealand and New South Wales?
I'm interested to see what New Zealand think about it.
I read today, I heard that they were unhappy They'll be blindsided by it, to be honest.
Yep.
I know Canberra certainly were blindsided by it. I don't think there's any way that he can do all three.
No.
I'd be
way.
very surprised if the Canberra board let him do all three. But I've read reports in our paper today that New Zealand have given their blessing. But I was told that their immediate response was, well, how's that going to work?
I think it would have shocked them. I mean, the one thing, there's not a conflict of interest with coaching New Zealand. If he was coaching Australia, like let's go back to the Terry Fernley days. Of
God, yes.
Him coaching New South Wales and coaching Australia, and him basically picking just about all of the New South Wales players and leaving the Queensland. It became
It created some dramas.
It was absolutely, it caused this huge
when he dropped
split.
Wally.
Oh,
That was huge, that story.
I
whereas,
think
the New Zealand thing in Australia, it'll be interesting of how it works, but I personally don't have a problem with it.
I think the one concern I have with these other jobs is the one part that we didn't see with Freddie was all the stuff he did the rest of the year, the going around places, inspiring young kids that wanted to be part of New South Wales. And so with a part-time contract that it seems that Michael Maguire has with New South Wales, that's a part where I go, geez, like the long-term effects Freddie had only, 5-6 years ago, how are we going to replace that? Look, I don't know. Is Freddie going to keep doing that? I'm not sure, but usually that's the role for the
From a
head
New
coach.
South Wales point of view, though, and I slugged it out with a New South Wales rugby league director about this yesterday. It said, "Oh, do you think Billy Slater?" And I just think there's a naivety about what New South Wales is up against at the moment. And the comment to me was, "Well, do you think Billy Slater, approaches Queensland like a full-time coach?" And I went,
Yes.
"Yeah, he does."
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
yeah.
really? How do you know? I said, "Well, mate, if you knew anything about football, you'd understand that those guys, Slater and Smith, are obsessive. And that's how they approach Origin. And that's why they have been so strong the last 2 years on their watch."
Webby, when you walk into Origin camp, the coach is on the clock. Right? He has to walk in there totally prepared, totally how he wants to play, crystallise in his head, who he's going to pick, how he's going to use interchange. All those things have to be done before he goes in, because then once you get in there, you've got to actually make the side gel together. Or in the case of Madge, you've actually got to plug the whole team into Nathan.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that why Madge, I think Madge is the right man for the job. As I said before, he's very prepared, very, very organised. As we're talking now, I've got no doubt Madge is sitting in front of a computer or a sheet of paper and he's penning down, how are we going to do this? How are we going to play? How do I compliment Nathan? All of those things. So the moment those blokes walk into camp, it'll be absolutely, in Madge's mind, crystal clear of how he's going to go about the campaign.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Now, Saturday night, boys.
You've convinced me. You've talked me into it.
And if you believe that, you'll believe anything.
I do.
Saturday night,
Go
8
Madge.
p.m, 7 p.m. Queensland time. Australia versus Samoa from Townsville. Dylan Edwards, we just spoke about that. Tedesco named at fullback. Very interesting initially that he was the only fullback named, but Dylan Edwards just came in. Dylan Edwards on the wing. Thoughts about it, boys?
I don't mind it. I think that he can play like a wing. He's got incredible coming out of trouble running ability. And I like the message it sends to the rest of the squad that, this is what we stand for. A bloke, he's been working his butt off. A lot of people think he should have got a crack here or there over the last couple of years. We're going to reward him with it. I think that sends a strong message to the rest of the Australian side that, if you do work really hard, you will be rewarded, even if it is out of position.
Yep.
So I think it'll be fine. And also, look, if it puts pressure on Teddy to make Teddy be better, that's great.
Yeah.
You like him as a 14, don't you?
What I like about him, like a winger has the ability to go and roam. I understand that. But wingers also have a responsibility after those initial hit-ups to actually go back and hold width. If you watch Dylan play, his best football is on play 4 and 5. They get forward, he does a kick return, but then all of a sudden he'll sit back and just watch, and all of a sudden play 3, 4, or 5. He'll get in there and once the momentum kicks in, he'll make those big fellas miss. If you're not going to play him at fullback, I see him being able to do that role better at 14 than on the wing. Now, I know you've got defensive responsibilities there, but I just back him to be able to do that. He's just so professional and he's so fit. He just gets the job done. The other side of the coin, boys, Samoa, young Failongo has been named at fullback. Hasn't his star risen so quickly? Big one, Stephen Crichton in the 6 jersey. Me and Beek were talking about this yesterday. It's funny. When GI first went to 6, those long striding players at 6, it can be problematic. I'm not sure about it.
Look, I think that as long as I know the coach has come out since and basically said he is not there to ball play. He's there to ball run. But I just think that he's so strong in defence that it's worth taking a hit a little bit in attack because when you look at the people that could have replaced him at 6, defensively there can be some issues there. Yep. And so I think he's just leaned heavily into he's one of the best defensive outside backs in the competition. We put him at 6. He's going to be strong. He's not going to be a spot for Australia. And hopefully his ball running can create something.
I tell you what, their outside backs are good. Murray Tuolangi, he's playing for Samoa now. Brian To'o, of course, and Isaac Tungo. That's great bench too. Spencer Leniu, Lukey, who's, mate, an emerging superstar at the Cowboys, and Tyrone May, who back end of the year was just incredible for the Roosters. The
only concern I have not concern, but surprise with the Samoa side was the fact that Tuolangi wasn't moved into centre and Marju wasn't brought onto the wing. He's been one of the best wingers all year.
I totally agree. That surprised me. Greg
Tonema Paya got the centre spot, who is a good centre, no doubt. No doubt. But I just a bit surprised there.
What do we think about Tuolangi being up, changing allegiance? Mal's come out overnight and said it's a sure sign that they need to fix up the eligibility rules.
Do you know, Webby, I actually, in theory and the way it's structured, like it is problematic. In essence, though, of Murray going and play for Samoa, I love it.
So do I.
Yeah.
It's better for the international game. Exactly.
Tuolangi is a great player. There's no denying he's a great player. He'll probably play Origin, all that good stuff. But we got plenty of good wingers in this. Australians.
I know.
I want people in that jersey that want to be there. So I want to give them the choice. You choose the blue jersey or the green and gold. And if you choose the green and gold, I want you to be there. If not, then I don't want you to. What I don't want is the leaving and coming back. That's something
I get it. If you go, you got to go.
Go, you're gone.
Yeah.
No Jerome Luai, which is a problem. The halves are a problem in this game for Samoa. What is a good result for Samoa in this game?
Just I know I don't want to be disrespectful, but competitive. Yeah. Competitive. You know, anywhere between a loss by 14 and 12, I think is a good.
You don't think Samoa can win this?
I don't think so. I mean, they can, but
I'd be a lot keener on it if Luai was in the team. Having that creative.
Yeah, and they've got a rookie. They've got a rookie fullback Fa'alongo who is gun, but we don't know. Number 9.
Young bloke from Manly.
Chico. Anyway, the young fella, the debut, he's got a 4-syllable name.
Yeah. But he's a good young player. But that's the spine
Rookies.
Is the problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Spine's the problem.
Australia $1.05.
Jeez, I won't be taking that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, bookmakers, what do you know?
Hang your head your hang in shame, Neds. We'll take a break. Shawshank Redemption up next.